Welcome back, guys, to another Beyond All Reason casting episode. My name is Panda, and today we have a 1v1 with Yakui. I'm gonna say Yakui. Yakui versus ozvideo. I'm gonna call him Oz, just for you guys. Okay, so let's have a quick rundown. So we have ozvideo as the Armada faction. And then we have our good friend Yakui over here as Cortex. So we've got a Cortex versus Armada game here on Mithril Mountain. I've turned on the borders. I might turn them off, to be honest. But we're going to keep them on for now. And we're going to see how this game goes. But we've got a bot lab from Oz. And we've got a bot lab, a vehicle lab from Yakui. I always get the bot lab and vehicle lab confused for Cortex, even though they look completely different. So yeah, that's just me being stupid. Anyway, we've got some construction vehicles straight away. And ozvideo also favouring the construction vehicles. We are sponsored by Monster today. I'm joking. That was a joke. Chat, that was a joke. Let's get into this. Anyway, right, construction vehicle. Construction bot. And then ticks. What do we have from Yakui? Construction vehicle and some rovers. So, well, rascals. We're going to see a 1v1 tick v rascal. Now, the rascal will win into this. But they are more expensive than that of their opponent, the tick. Now, personally, I like to ignore this node. And just completely ignore that node and kind of ignore the central part. The only problem is bots actually can go down this ramp, I think. I've seen it done. So there's that kind of issue. But as long as you have like some units or some defenses around here, then it will be fine. Better to just leave some defensive. Now, first pawn of the game. Let's have a look and see if these rascals are able to achieve anything. The ticks seem to be taking out one or two mexes. See if we can get a third. Nope, it's going to get eliminated there. Now, this rascal being an absolute rascal. What the heck? Bro's AFK. Now, these players are a little bit lower OS than what you normally see on my channel. But I thought, you know, these games will give us more of an insight into the mistakes that people make. Not that these guys really make that many mistakes. But the mistakes and kind of how to counteract some, or easy ways to counteract things, right? Other than the high level plays that these 50 OS players are doing, right? So we can see kind of the strategies these guys use, and they're probably easier to implement. Right? So we're just going to have lots of pawns coming out here from ozvideo, and it looks like we've got two construction vehicles instead, and whereas ozvideo has his commander. So we've got two different strategies emerging here. Okay, another mech's over there being destroyed. I'm trying my best, guys, to like keep the camera still, so it's a little bit more pleasurable to watch. Those ticks being taken out by those incisors there. Now, a face-off between an incisor and a pawn. Now, ozvideo is going to be aware that that is there. It looks like Yakui kind of spreading out his incisors a lot more. They are a lot more expensive, and it looks like he doesn't even have any build power on the factory anymore. He's going to really suffer for that. He's not going to have any units on the field. Don't really know why he's used the ticks to try and fight that incisor there. It would have been better to just get them to run past. It will be taken out. Ooh. That's unfortunate. It will eventually be killed, hopefully without any damage here. Yakui is going to be able to eliminate all of these pawns, though. For absolutely free, basically. The D-gun using some energy. Now remember, guys, if you like this game, please download it, because honestly, The community's awesome, and it's free. I'm not paid by them or anything like that. This is like, I just really think this game is good, and I'd love for more people to play it. So please consider having a go. There's a lot to learn, but it's kind of the curve of learning is like this, right? And look, I'm gonna yap for a sec. Curve of learning is like this, right? Like that. You know? You're gonna learn a lot at the beginning, okay? Maybe it's less, it's more like that, right? Ignore that first one. But there's a lot to learn, but you learn it quite fast. So I really recommend having a go and playing it. I really find it fun. And if you want to, play with me, feel free to add me as a friend. I'm down to play a couple games here and there. Now, those incisors are going to be able to take out a lot of these mexes here. That's going to leave ozvideo a little bit of a disadvantage, as he will have less mexes. It looks like they're pretty even though so far. ozvideo having control over this area here, whereas Yakui not, as the map is mirrored, if you guys couldn't tell. Now, Yakui does have the upper hand in terms of the taking over this mountain. These mountains are very important to control. It allows you to control this pass a lot easier. However, I find that you can just ignore this. And if they don't kind of build any kind of stoppage or like unit, like if there's no artillery or anything up here, it's quite easy to just literally ignore and just go straight for the base. So you don't want to overinvest in these spots, right? It looks like Yakui massively investing in this front line here, though. You guys are doing a very good job at controlling the map, but that's what we kind of want to see from a Cortex early game. They're not going to win in kind of face-to-face battles, but they are going to be able to hold off areas. They use their range as their advantage, right? Incisors are basically walking LLTs, but a lot less damage. And also walking, driving. But you get my point. Now the commander here finally. Missing several D guns there. Unfortunately, but also got a push on this right side. Yakui is going to retreat his forces so that he can pay attention. Looks like not much happening. Don't know why I couldn't hear that LLT shooting. Very strange. But it looks like Oz struggling to muster up a force large enough to deal with this amount of LLTs. Now I would like a switch into maces or rocket bots, which it looks like we have here. Now the incisors, so when he is kind of nearing the second lab potential, which is what we want to see. We want to see the second lab from both of these players, whether that's a bot lab for Yakui or a vehicle lab for Oz, or a air lab for either of them. Now Yakui pushing on two sides here, two fronts. That's going to distract Oz. Oz not going to be able to react with his forces over here, using the commander to deal with units over there. Now he may be able to get this all in one fell swoop if these pawns can get inside of the incisors. No, it looks like the incisors are just too strong. Vehicles really showing up here, what they can do. It's really well played from Yakui, distracting his opponent and using his advantages, which is speed and health. Now Rocketbot's finally coming out here. We need to see maces. Maces are outmaneuvered. However, they will be much better at holding these positions, right? Because Oz needs to kind of retract his front line. He can't be up this far. He knows that Yakui has the advantage in terms of kind of just unit production at this moment in time. As I said, you don't want to overestimate your opponent. You always want to underestimate them, but he's lost quite a lot of ground and he hasn't dealt the same kind of damage to Yakui. So he needs to retract. He needs to just retreat. Giving ground is not the end of the world. In this game where you can expand your economy without having mex points, you can give ground. And it's more important to reserve your metal that you've spent on resources to use at a later date. Just sending your metal in isn't going to help anyone. Now, we've got a lot of metal in the bank here from Oz. We need to be spending that. Instead of building fucking umbrellas, I don't know why I call them umbrellas, fucking fans, what are they called? Turbines. We need to build solar panels. Because we don't have enough energy. We need some advanced solar panels. We don't have enough energy. Where's the commander? Okay, the commander's up here. That's me not looking at the mini-map. Oz should be aware. No, he is not aware. He needs a radar down. We need a radar up here. Could have been very useful. It would have allowed him to kind of see this area here. Oh, that is a really bad circle. It would be like more like this. That's such a shit circle. Anyway, you get the point. Now we're seeing a switch up for units. Now medium tanks, essentially the mace for vehicles. Higher health, longer range. They are ineffective really against large groups of enemies. They have a very small amount of AoE, but they do a lot of damage and have a lot of health. Now we're seeing the air lab a little bit late from both players here, but they have been dealing with quite a lot. Commander in a really risky position, but will be able to survive. Now we've got the maces coming out here. Maces will be traded much more favorably, but they need to be used correctly. Got a Centurion there, which is going to help. And the first bomber coming out. Now we want a fighter. The fighter, okay. It's going to be a bit late. No, we might just get the air. Okay, anti-air. That's fine. It's going to take a little bit for this bomber to die, though. So we've built a second one. That's good. Thinking. Now, what we want here is just not an overinvestment into the bombers now, right? We've seen the air lab from the enemy player. We just want to use these last bombers and then possibly just invest into fighters. And a scout. I wouldn't say go shurikens. Shurikens might be a waste here. You're already winning for your kind of ground forces here. I mean, I just don't think shurikens are going to be the way. I would rather see kind of maybe even just pull this metal out and go invest it into vehicles or units. The air lab, I mean, build a couple fighters, and then I'd say that would be it. You don't want to use air for too long. If you're looking into the late game, I can see that, but Yakui is doing a very good job of controlling Oz's movements. Was unable to make any sort of ground. Looks like he's building his own fighters here now. Now, I really just want to see the metal being sucked back up. This is kind of just a waste of metal at this point. I mean, what are you using them for? To die? To anti-air? Like, guys, we just move the play on. We either want gunships now, or suck that metal up. In terms of Oz, right? Because those gunships could be very useful, you know? Deep into enemy lines, or your lines, you can then use the gunships to kind of assist your troops, right? Or we can consume the lab and go T2. Yes, please! Look, that's greed. And I could be talking out my ass. But that's what I would do if I was in this situation. Because look, I mean, look, how much, what? He's still got bots. He's still got bots. We need vehicles. The vehicles are just going to win. Okay, the medium tanks, we are suffering a little bit here. Where's the... Okay, we got a bot lab here from Yakui. Hasn't consumed the air lab. Metal's still invested. Now with all these LLTs, there's not going to be much ground here. And look at these medium tanks, they're absolutely tearing through. We need to see a vehicle lab or something else. Resbots would be amazing here. Instead of building thugs, get some resbots. Get this reclaim. Get this metal. Look, we need some metal. Let's fucking... Let's get some metal in our bellies. Instead of thugs. Look, we've got medium tanks pumping out. How many more can we get out? Okay, he's able to pump them out without suffering too much. But if we suck that up, another construction tower. Now, because these kind of do cap out at, you know... I mean, maybe not. I was thinking more like 5 construction towers, tier 1 bots, tier 1 labs cap out. But I could be wrong. Could be severely wrong. But we're here to learn together, guys. So if you can let me know how many construction towers it takes for a tier 1 lab to stop being efficient, let me know in the comments below. That would be very helpful information, actually. Now we've got some resbots here reviving these units. This left side is really getting contested, but these metal sites are just getting controlled by Yakui. He needs resbots. He needs resbots. We've got so many medium tanks. Just driving in. I think Oz is doing a really good job here in holding off. But eventually he's going to have to change up his strategy. We're going to need vehicles. And the more the game goes on, the more Cortex is going to win. Now see what I mean? I'm just going to pause the video here, right? We got this many fighters. Now, it's different, right? In kind of higher level games, you do want to kind of keep your factory. But in this kind of elo, I think, and a little bit below, especially a lot below, it's like you don't want to... Sorry. You don't want to overinvest in air. Look how many air we have here, and we're just not using them. You know, like, what is the point in this? I know you're kind of thinking, oh, wow, what if he has loads of flipping air? But look, we don't need that. He's building more fighters. What's that going to do? Fighter versus fighter? That's just a stalemate. We need to underestimate our enemy and send in our fighters. It is risky, but being defensive this game is not going to pay off. Right now, you're already losing, right? This army is about to fuck you in the ass. Okay? So we need to either gain air superiority or change up our strategy some way, right? Now, he has done that over here, it looks like, right? We're seeing some forces enter in the weak point. Now, luckily for Yakui, he's going to have enough forces and enough production to get this down, especially if he gets some resbots. First Grave Robber. Bit late, but first Grave Robber, so that's good. That's an improvement. Now, there are so many LLTs up here. That is crazy. Anyway, let's get going. Yap over. This is looking really, really bad for Oz. these red spots are gonna die. Oh, they're backing off. Most of the time, you'll win a trade if you back off. That's kind of the case. Okay, maybe not. But especially like early on in the game, that is the case. Alright, if you're forcing your enemy to walk into you. You do have the surround bonus, but keeping yourself at range, where they're just about able to shoot you, but you're able to shoot them. It's also easier for your... Look, now we've got some gunships coming out. This is good. So he's a little bit deep into Oz's territory right now, so he's going to use those gunships. Now we're going to see some fighters come in. Now, look. Let's underestimate our enemy here. We see a couple fighters. Every single fighter is dead. Let's build a couple bombers. Or gunships? Sure. I don't think he's had the time to change that yet, but... we need to use these fighters as a fighter screen to bomb. Boom, boom, boom. We can turn this game around. This is easily a winnable situation. His economy is popping off. His energy is popping off. His army is popping off. This is a winnable situation right now. Now, are we going to see T2 from either of these players? They both have the economy for it now. We've got 50 metal a second and 1.2k energy. So we can see a tier 2. Now, look, and now he's seeing, look, a couple more fighters. Boom. Let's get some bombers. Let's get some bombers. We need to go. We need to rumble. You need to rumble in the jungle, otherwise you're not going to get it done. Maybe I've had too much sugar, but shut your mouth. Look, guys. I went to like a performative dance thing today, alright? I am in the dancing mood. Who's in the dancing mood? I'm never not in the dancing mood. You guys probably think I'm so fucking weird. Anyway. Pounders. Okay, now we can't even spam. Now we can't spam. This is so fucking OP. Fuck you. Oh, look. We need to adapt. Gunships. Gunships. Where are the gunships? Where are the gunships? We don't have any more of them. Oh my god, this could be cracked, though. This could be cracked. Taking over the wreck sites. See, it's important. You need to control the wreck sites. You need to control them. So important. Have a face-off here. Fucking Oz's forces are going to win this. Those Centurions are so tanky. They do so much damage. Now, we're really looking fucking good. Good fucking job for fucking Oz. I'm really, like, quite proud of him here. He's turned this around. He's adapted his strategy. He's taken over the wreck sites. I love it. You love to see it. And it's GG. That's beautiful. Magnifique. Magnifique.
Battle ended.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I actually really enjoyed that game. It was a little lower OS than what we normally see, but I actually really enjoyed that. I think Oz fucking pulled that around. No one, don't look. I'm not playing 8v8s. Anyway, Oz fucking turned that around. Yakui did a good job. Problem was, he did kind of just... those wreck sites were around for way too long. He had control over them for such a long time, and they were just around for way too long. The metal that he used, that he didn't invest into fighters, was not used effectively, in my opinion. I think we were at tier 1 for too long. Cortex's advantages aren't in tier 1. They're in tier 2, tier 3, right? We don't want to stick tier 1 that long, right? We want to control the map. We want to go to tier 2. That's ideally what we want to do with Cortex. The ball is in the fucking Armada's court at tier 1. But, I mean, both did a really good job. Thank you guys for watching. Love y'all. See you in the next one. Like, subscribe.